Wellness Warriors, welcome to this training where I'm going to be explaining to you how to set up your offline one-to-many business model. Now, this is going to enable you to get out of the face-to-face one-to-one business model, which so many wellness practitioners are stuck in, and it's only enabling them to reach a certain amount of people per week, and their income is capped to a certain amount per week. So this enables you to have more impact and have a greater income. So the other one-to-many model is online, which I explain in different training videos, but right now we're doing a two-part series on offline one-to-many. So with offline one-to-many, you've got three options. You start here at seminars and you work your way up through workshops, eventually to retreats, which is the most profitable and is going to give you the most impact. And we actually go over the economics of that and what kind of rate you should be charging for each one of these and how many people you should be having in each situation. So with the seminars, you should be aiming for about 20 people for your first few seminars, and workshops, it comes down to 10 and then 5 when you start your first retreat. So there's also a frequency per month, and you can see all of that in the other training video. But right now I want to talk about how to go about planning your seminars, how to go about planning your workshops and your retreats. How do you actually organize that and set it all up so that it runs amazingly and it has an impact on people's lives? So a lot of people get caught up with all the details and the minutiae of like the location and the price and catering and all of these other things like media and the PA system, and it can all just become so overwhelming. But if you start with these three things, this is the most important things that you need to be thinking about. So you want to start by thinking first and foremost of these three things, and then the other stuff will take care of itself. I promise you, it needs to start here. Otherwise, you're going to go straight to the details and you're going to get overwhelmed straight away. So number one, you need to start with your audience. This is the group of people that you most want to help. This is the group of people that you're most equipped to help with your particular modality. And you need to narrow in on a particular group of people with a demographic that can be defined. So for example, you might want to deal with 30 to 40-year-old women who are athletes, for example. And another example might be you want to deal with 25 to 30-year-old women who are in that preconception phase, trying to get pregnant, or they're thinking about their bodies in that time of getting pregnant and they want to do things right. So you need to start with that. What are their particular needs? Who are they? Where do they live? What do they actually want? Which brings us to number two, which is promise. You've got to think about, and you've got to get this very, very clear, what is the promise that they're going to get from you by joining in on your offline one-to-many program, be it a seminar, a workshop, or a retreat? What specifically, what is the outcome that they will get from you? Only when you nail that do you even begin to think about promotion. So understand your audience, understand what you're bringing to them, and then you can start thinking about promotion. And promotion is where you would go about using either online or offline again. So online, you would focus all of your marketing muscle on Facebook, content marketing and funnel marketing. And offline, you would focus on your actual practice. So you're seeing all these clients and you'd start inviting them to your seminars. You'd start inviting them to your workshops, and you would attach it back to the promise based on your experience that you've had with them so far. So for example, if you're a nutritionist, you might have been dealing with a client over the period of the last 2-3 weeks, and something keeps coming back. Their food craving is just something they can't get over. It's like a psychological thing for them. So that's where you would go back to the promise of, for example, your workshop, and you talk about your upcoming workshop, which is coming up in 2 weeks, where you work with them to overcome their emotional issues around food. So that's just one example. And that's an offline method of promotion, talking face-to-face to your clients from your practice. So this is another training series altogether, learning about this promotion side of things. But these are the three key things you need to nail. So number one, get your audience right. Then with your promise, take a bit of time, put some time aside, spend a few hours really nailing the promise, because this is very, very vital in getting people to actually want to come to your retreat, workshop, or seminar. Now, again, there's an ascension model here. So once you nail this stuff, Then you can work out the finer details of location, time, price, again, which we go into in the other video. But you always want to start with seminars, right? This is the easiest. This is the most difficult. This takes the most planning and forethought. This takes very little planning and forethought. You literally only need to book a room in some easy to access location, which has good lighting, and perhaps a projector if you want to do that, or just a big TV which you can connect your laptop to with a HDMI cable, like very simple stuff. And the people who host this facility, the people who run the facility that you're going to hire, they'll be able to explain how all of that stuff works and how much it's going to cost. But as a rough guide, and I explained this in the other video as well, you want to be looking at about 20% of your overall sale price spent on the venue, spent on running the event, spent on setup. 20%. If it's more than that, find a cheaper venue, find a cheaper location. You don't want to be spending too much more than that. Now, seminars is where you begin, and when you're doing your seminars, this is your opportunity to actually upsell straight to a workshop. So a seminar, you're going to be charging 20 to 30 bucks. You're giving away some really good information, so people want to be there. There's a value perception because you've charged money for them to be there. It's very easy to get people to come to a seminar when your promise is strong enough. And that's when you can go into promotion for your workshop. That's when you can start talking about the fact that a quick seminar, while it does run them through the basic points of getting through whatever challenge they're facing, the workshop goes into more detail. And that's a half day or a full day workshop. And that's where you talk about your availability to have people sign up, and you limit it to 10 people available to sign up to your workshop. And you'd say something like, tonight, there's only 10 spaces available for the workshop coming up in 2 weeks. If you'd like to register your interest, go ahead and fill out the form at the back of the room, and you take a break halfway through the seminar, and they fill out the form at the back of the room with their details, and then you can get in touch and talk through them the process of what's involved in the workshop and why it would be so great for them to get through whatever problem they're dealing with. And then with the same thing with workshops, once you've got someone's attention for a half day or a full day, you build a tremendous amount of trust, tremendous amount of authority is built in the eyes of your client who's come to your workshop. And if there is further for you to go to really break them through this promise, like for example, let's say they are having issues staying motivated to exercise consistently, you teach them the principles of good exercise, and then your retreat actually promises them to reprogram their whole mentality, okay? So this is very deep work. This is very involved, engaging, one-to-one interaction, intensive work. So you tell them about how when they come to your retreat, they'll be able to really go through this whole process of reprogramming their attitude. So they understand what it takes here, but you actually facilitate that transformation at the retreat. So you're just really offering more and more value as you travel further up. So that's the basic flow of how you set all of this up. When it comes down to organizing and hosting a retreat, I've got some specific training on that. Just let me know if you'd like me to share that with you. When it comes to workshops, again, it's very simple. This doesn't need to be complicated. This is literally a matter of hiring out a space for a half day or a day, just like the seminar, communicating with the person running or who owns that space, and figuring out the logistics of how to set up the projector, how to set up the whiteboard, what facilities are available, then having some light refreshments that people can partake with. It's very simple stuff. There's not a lot of organization involved. So part of this training is I just want you to understand that all of the logistics side of at least these two is very simple. You just need to focus on nailing this stuff. And with retreats, I've got some separate training which I can share with you. And this is going to explain actually how do you set the retreat up, from getting the venue, from actually this is where you would have some catering involved, and there's a bit more involved in that process. So I've got separate training for that. So this is how it all works. That's how you go about setting up your offline one-to-many program. I hope you enjoyed that training.